Ubiest. I'm running on RECAPS. So let's discuss DOT time. Ubiest of the tubiest. The best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus. So I'm running on RECAPS. What are RECAPS, you ask? A good question, because we're going to talk about DOT time. Okay? So you have 3 clocks to work with. Okay? And the first clock is the clock that you use to actually perform work. Now we're going to remember that pre-trip and post-trip, when you're inspecting the truck, you're doing that on duty. At on duty time, you know, you're performing work, and it does take off of your on duty clock. That on duty clock has 11 hours, so you can work 11 hours, okay? So let's say it's Sunday night and you're getting ready to leave, but you ain't gonna leave until Monday. And Monday, Sunday night, midnight 01, it's 1 minute into Monday, and you say, I'm doing it. So you go to the truck, you click on duty, and you start your pre-trip. And let's say, for easy math, you did a 1 hour pre-trip. And as soon as you're done, you jump in the truck, pop that brake, put it in gear, you're burning fuel. Okay? So you drive 9 consecutive hours. Pop them brakes, hook slide it to a truck stop, and go on duty for a post trip. And let's say that you do a post trip for 59 minutes. Then you go off duty. Off duty, sleeper, same, okay? So what have you accomplished? 1 hour pre-trip, 9 hours driving, that's 10 hours, and then 59 minutes for your post-trip. Well, that's only 10 hours and 59 minutes, so you still have 1 minute remaining that you could work. But you're not gonna do nothing with 1 minute, right? What we're gonna do is take that 1 minute and bling, put it in a bank. Okay? And then you spend your 10 hours break. In between drive cycles, you have to take a 10 consecutive hours off. Off or in the sleeper, one of the two, okay? So after those 10 hours, you say, okay, at midnight 01, Tuesday morning, I'm taking off. So that's what you do. Midnight 01, you go on duty for pre-trip. And you go on duty pre-trip for 1 hour. You do a straight hour pre-trip. I mean, you just doing everything you learned in school. 100%. So it'll take you an hour, right? All right, so as soon as that 1 hour is up, you burn the fuel. Burning that fuel, okay? And you drive for 7 hours. Why 7 and not 9? Because 1 hour pre-trip, 7 hours of driving equals 8 hours. And DOT, FMLA says After on duty for 8 hours, the driver must take a 30-minute break. And so you take a 30-minute break. So if you did 1 hour pre-trip, 7 hours of driving, it's only 8 hours. But you get 11. So what happens, right? Well, after your 30-minute break, those extra hours that were left over, there's 3 of them, they're going to come back to you. They're going to give you those 3 hours of drive. So you can drive another 3 hours. Of course, when that 3 hours is up, you better be ready to pop the brake right then, because you would be actually out of time. So let's just say you drive 2 hours, go to the truck stop, pop the brake, go on duty for post-trip. You go post-trip for how long? That's right, 59 minutes, because you're doing everything they taught you in school. Okay? So at the end of that day, you've worked the same. You've worked 10 hours and 59 minutes. You have 1 minute left. You take that 1 minute, bing, put it in the bank. Okay? Next day, Wednesday, you wake up. Midnight 01. Go on duty. Take off. You drive just like you did the previous day. 1 hour for pre-trip, 7 hours of driving, and you go to the truck stop so that you can take that 30-minute break, right? So you go to the truck stop, you walk inside, and what do you see? Some fancy, shining hot dog wieners that are rolling on that rotisserie. Look like somebody squirted with Armor All. They just glistering, right? And so you say, man, I gotta have one of them. So you go get your hot dog bun, you get over in there, and as you reach in there, you see the little sign say 1 hot dog, $8. 2 hot dogs, $3.50. So you say, oh, I'm gonna buy 2. So you buy 2 of them shiny hot dogs, go to your truck, you look at your DOT time, you say, oh man, I still got 20 minutes. I'm good. Now 30-minute break. So you start eating them hot dogs, right? You eat that first one, chomp it on down. Get that second one, chomp it on down. Go lick them fingers. And when you get to that last one, oh, your belly starts bubbling. Oh, your belly gut. Oh my God. Now you gotta go to the toilet. You know, you're scared to get up off because you know, that might be a pressure you sitting down, maybe the only thing holding it in. Reach back there, squeeze with your hand, squeeze your butt cheek, could just fake to say, hell no, I'm out. So you try to get to the truck stop and you're in there to that stank, fume-infested poop hole, they call it restroom in there, and find you a place to sit. And, you know, with holding butt with one hand, unbuckling with the other. And then just as you pull your pants down, buzzer beater, baby. So you sit there crying. By the time you finally figure out, well, you know what? I think my sphincter and my buttocks might have forgiven me for my past discretions of eating those concessionary hot dogs. You decide to get up, but you look at the clock. You say, oh my goodness, I've been sitting here 45 minutes. I only have 30-minute break. Oh my goodness. I'm wasting time. So you know, some of you wipe, some of you don't. Some of you walk out without washing your hands. Some of them, you know, wash them. You might be one of them that don't wash your hands. So you get to the truck, look at that DOT time and say, oh my goodness, I've actually been off duty for an hour. I was only supposed to be off duty for 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? So you start it up, pop the brake, put it in gear, put your poop-infested fingers all over the steering wheel, and take off. So as you're driving, you realize you have 3 hours. Well, wait a minute. You took an extra 30 minutes. You was only supposed to take 30 minutes. That's it, you know. Why didn't you start eating away at those other 3 hours, because DOT FMCSA says you have 14 hours to perform those 11 hours of work, okay? They only mandate that you take at least a 30-minute break, but you can take that break as long as you need it to be. You can even take it 3 hours if you want, and it will not affect your 11 hours, okay? So you have a 14-hour window to perform 11 hours of work. So the same thing happens. You go home, you go to the truck stop after you drove those 2 hours, and then you go off duty for how much? 59 minutes, because you're doing that school taught you pre-trip, post-trip. At the end of it, you got 1 minute. Take that 1 minute, bing, put it in the bank, okay? So, in a short catch you up, we talked about 11 hours of work on duty. And on duty is, work is on duty and driving. Those combined is what's eating out for that 11. There's a 14-hour window clock for you to do that work in. And we talked about the 70-hour clock, and that's the big pool of hours that you pull from, okay? Those are your clocks. So this goes on, okay? You've got a grasp on it, and days go by, and one morning you wake up after, midnight and 1 minute, and you look at your clock, and the clock says you got 2 hours, 10 minutes to run. And you go, wait a minute, how do I only have 2 hours, 10 minutes? Why don't I have, my full clock so I can go, run, and then, 8 hours, take my 30-minute break, go get shit finger, and then, start driving and eat them hot dogs. I ain't learned the first time, right? It's because you are eating away at that 70 hours. And when you woke up, the only thing that was remaining on that 70-hour clock is what they're allowing you to drive, okay? So you might say, damn, I don't want to drive no guy. Where am I going with, 2 hours? You ain't get nowhere, right? But you do like I did, which was, drive that 2 hours. That's what I did. You have a choice. You can either drive that 2 hours or you can just stay parked. DOT FMCSA says if you stay parked off duty uninterrupted for 34 consecutive hours, you will then regain a brand new 70-hour work week again, okay? That's what you can do. That's option A. Option B is to drive them 2 hours. That's what I did, okay? I drove those 2 hours. So after you drive those 2 hours, the next day, you don't have any hours. Why you don't have any hours is because you drove everything away and you didn't choose option A. So you don't have anything. You're going to have to sit. Okay? So you sit. The next day, you wake up. Ooh, I'm ready. And you look at your clock and you got how long? How much you got? You have 5 minutes, 7 minutes, roughly. Why did you get 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever you got? Why did you get that? Because those are the accumulative hours that you racked up by putting them in the bank, okay? Over all those days that you use that 70 up, okay? Or those minutes. So you got like 7 minutes you can drive, okay? So, let's say you drove them 7 minutes. You drove up to the fuel island and, you know, dumped your trash out, and then realize you ain't got no more time to park right back in the parking spot. Okay? That's what you've done. Okay, so now that day has passed by, you have nothing. You're on now the 8th day. When you go to sleep and wake up, you look at your clock, you haven't done a 34, you look at the clock, and all of a sudden you got 11 hours on there. 10 hours and 59 minutes, to be exact. How did that happen? How did you get 10 hours and 59 minutes when you didn't do a 30? You didn't do, you know, what happened? Did the hours fairy come and give them to you? Those hours is the same hours that you ran on that Monday, that midnight 01 that you got up on Monday, and you ran your clock down, and then you did your pre-trip and post-trip and only left 1 minute on the clock. You recaptured those hours, those on-duty hours, all combined on duties. You recapture those hours on that 8th day. Short term, it's called recaps, but that's what's happening. You now recaptured the time that you spent, that you was on duty that Monday, and you can drive those hours. You treat it just like a normal day. So you take off, you do that. Next morning, you drive it all. Let's say you drive every bit of that. So okay, you use it all, leaving only 1 minute. Boop, that you put it in the bank. The next day, what you're gonna get is 10 hours and 59 minutes from that Tuesday. You're going to recapture that. That's a recap, okay? The one thing that's going to be different about Tuesday that was different about Monday, or your first recap day and your second recap day, the difference is whatever you left, that 1 minute that you left yesterday, remember you parked and you went off duty and you left 1 minute on the clock, that 1 minute is going to be automatically added to the next day. You don't have to wait till the 8th day to get that. Why? It's because you're not working on a 10-hour a 70-hour clock anymore. You're running on recaptured. So you're going to recapture everything that you can use and burn it up. Okay? And you're going to repeat that process until you take a 34. Okay? So you're going to recapture everything. The next day, you're going to recapture everything from 8 days ago. And what you can do is look on your Qualcomm, and your Qualcomm will let you know what you're gaining at midnight. There'll be one line that says, this is what you're going to gain at midnight. 10 hours, 59 minutes. And then it's going to say what you gain in 2 days. I mean, the day after tomorrow is going to show what you get. Or you can go to the 8-day clock on your Qualcomm, and it's going to show you. It's going to start at the top. At the top is today. At the bottom is 8 days ago, and that's what you're going to get. Okay. I'll show you. I'll take a little snapshot, and then I'll put it at the end of this video. Okay. But you can continue to run using your recap hours. I do it here because, you know, this company does, they like you to run on recaps, so they keep you moving. When I was working at Swift, I had a student with me. Even before I had a student, we run hard. We run our 70 clock out. And then we'd park and we'd do a 34. And I like doing 34s. I like doing 34s because not only does it, give my students a break, it gives me a break, it gives the truck a break. You know, sanity can come back for a minute, and you know, you can have time to wash and you know, close and clean the truck up and, you know, start over again. It's a reset kind of thing, and it's a break. Okay. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to talk to you about something that the Mr. you know, I've been driving for 30 years, guys, going to get on this rookie channel and start telling us how wrong it is to drive your clock all the way out, that you should drive only 8 or 9 hours or whatever. That's what they're going to tell you, okay? And they're going to tell you that because they can't do math, okay? And they did it their own little way, and you know, that it's going to make you so much money to do it, you know, by never running out of hours. And the reason why they say that is because, remember I told you that you're gonna, if you ran that way, that will be a day where you're gonna have 0 hours. That's a fact. If you run all of your hours out in 7 days, you will be out of hours, right? If you ran 10 hours a day in 7 days, you will be out of hours, but you don't get hours back until that 8th day, all right? So that means when you wake up on the 8th day, there's nothing, because you're running that is the 8th day, and you don't capture that day. What you're going to capture is your 8th day, and your 8th day was 0 hours. You follow me? So you started on day 1. Then you go 2, 3, 4. This is day 0 right here. You started day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now you need to recapture. There's only 7 days, right? You got to start over. 7 days a week, right? So you're going to start over. 8, at 8 you didn't work. So you're going to get 0 hours. And that's why Mr. Super Trucker, who's been doing it for 30 years, is going to get on here and tell you, don't run your clock all the way out, so that whenever you will be putting more in the bank. Remember, every day you're putting in the bank. So when you get to 7, when you go back to 8 with 0 hours, you got some bank. That way you can keep running. You won't have 2 hours or 7 minutes like I was talking before. Okay? Well, the problem with that is you've put yourself in this restricted box, because when you start running again, you're only going to be able to run those hours that you ran early, because you're only going to recapture what you used, and you was only on do the 8 hours. You're going to recapture 8 hours. So what happened is you got a fat load, and the load says you got to be there, in 3 days. Maybe you don't get that load. Why? It's because when they look at your DOT time, they see you running on recaps, and look at your recap hours that you're going to recap for that 3 days, and they say, well, hell, he ain't going to get but 24 hours. It's going to take 36 to run it, so give it to somebody else. They'll say, oh no, I've been doing it for 50 years, and that's not true. Okay, I'm not going to argue with somebody that actually can't do the math, man. And they can't factor in the problems that you can come up with, okay? So let's just say you took that run. You say, well, I can do it, and you took that run, and then all you can run is 8 hours, and then the next day, there's a rainstorm or snow or whatever, and you can only run 45 miles an hour. But if you'd done the way I'm telling you to do it, you could have ran your clock out. You could have ran, 2.5 more hours of driving. That would have made up for you driving 40 miles an hour. You follow what I'm saying? Or, let's say you went back to the truck stop, and you ain't learned your lesson the first time, Mr. Shitfinger, and you went in there and got some more hot dogs. Now you laying in the bunk like, I'm never gonna touch my dogs again. But you will. I can't drive today. So you call the driver and you say, hey, I gotta sit today because I got squirt butt. And the driver man say, okay, cool, you just stay there and squirt, and we're gonna send somebody to repower that load. Why? Because you can't afford to sit down. You can't afford to sit down because you can't drive. You didn't drive enough the previous day for you to be able to sit that truck for any period of time to make up for the next one. So what they're counting on, the person who's going to be writing down there, they're going to be counting on you running every single day. And life's perfect, but it don't work that way. It don't. Some days you're gonna have squirt butt. Some days you just not feeling it. There's days you're on your job right now. There's days you just don't want to go to work. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to get here, man, I just do not feel like driving today. I mean, those days come, okay? So, you're still going to drive, but maybe you drive 8 hours instead of 10 or 6 hours, okay? So, you run hard every single day, so when that day comes, you can afford it. It don't hurt the load. They don't have to come take the load off of you, all that good jazz, okay? So, there's more to it than just saying only run 8 hours so you never have to do a reset. There's nothing wrong with doing a reset. There's nothing wrong with going, whew, man, let me take a break. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. It helps you to stay sane and, keep yourself clean, keep your truck clean. You need that time to just sit still for a minute. Maybe you need to go get the A or B service done on the truck. Use that time, go shopping, freshen yourself up. Okay, you don't always have to just run every little bitty day. I mean, if apples was apples, okay, they was the same thing, then it would be the same thing, right? Except in one example, doing that same thing, you got an opportunity to breathe a little bit. No pressure. You don't have to run hard every day. You may want to have an easy day. Well, if you plan on every day being an easy day, then what are you ever going to do what happens to a tough day? You follow what I'm saying? Okay. So, recaps are hours, all on-duty hours. Recap is all on-duty hours 8 days ago that you are recapturing to burn today. After your 70-hour clock has been exhausted, okay? 8 hours. 8-hour clock is the amount of time that you can drive today. I'm sorry, the 8-hour clock. I'm looking at somebody else that threw me off. What's the guy doing? Anyways, back to the 8 hours is the amount of time you can drive in a day before you have to take a 30-minute break. Okay. 11 hours is the amount of work that you can perform in a day. 14 hours is the window of time that you can do 11 hours of work. Okay. You ready to run on recaps? If you have any questions, put it down below. Yubies, I see you when I see you. Stay out for those carousel hot dogs at the truck stops, but it will give you the squirt butt. Okay. Till I see you again, deliver undistracted. Here's your boot. Yeah.